All right. Kenny Sargent, Crash Gladys, the Speed Freaks. If you could describe this lunch we just had in one word, what would it be?
You or me?
You go. It's your word.
It is my word. It's legendous.
That was what we needed. Thank you. Sold. Woman in the red.
And now for Dinner with Racers, presented by
Continental Tire.
with your hosts, Ryan Eversley and Sean Heckman.
Placeholder radio sound. I'm a driver. I'm very angry. This is the sound of a driver on the radio during a race.
What do you think I should order?
All right. Dinner with Racers. Welcome. Speed Freaks. So I'm Sean Heckman.
I'm Ryan Eversley.
And if you don't know who we are, join the club. So anyway, we are driving. We are 8 miles out of Highway 41 in Florida, on our way back home to Ryan's place in Atlanta.
Yeah, buddy.
And anyway, so we're just wrapping up our tour of Dinner with Racers. We just traveled around the country in what vehicle?
My Acura MDX.
And what were the tires on that?
We went with the Continental Tire
Oh, interesting.
because they're our sponsor, and we like Continental Tires.
So we met up with a handful of people in racing that we thought were interesting. We invited them to dinner, and that's our story. There wasn't an agenda. We didn't have a structure. A lot of them we didn't know. And at the time, seemed like a good idea. So 8,000 miles and 30 days later, in how many states?
Across 20 states.
Wow. So anyway, 27 meals is the final result of this trip. And all so that you could turn around and tell us you didn't
Like our free podcast.
Yeah. All right. Next up, the Speed Freaks. So we met up in Phoenix, Arizona with Kenny Sargent.
Yep.
And Crash Gladys.
Okay.
And we sat down to just kind of discuss, they're in a semi-similar world as us.
I was there too.
And so we cover a lot of topics with them and sort of what it takes to do their show, the history, who they like, who they don't like. They were pretty much unafraid to answer anything except why they have nicknames. It's the one question they wouldn't answer.
We learned that Kenny Sargent, when he was putting out the vibe trying to get a co-host, he almost had a very famous celebrity.
And we hear them fight.
We do, and it was real.
Yeah, pretty sure that wasn't a joke. So anyway, so let's hear what the Speed Freaks have to say. We met at
Speed Freaks.
So we met up at the Hillside Spots. What'd you have?
I had the Nutella crepes. They were fantastic.
And I had a chicken sandwich.
Weird.
Let's hear the Speed Freaks.
Speed Freaks.
Brought to you by Continental Tire.
Continental Tire. Continental Tire.
All right, we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Sorry.
So you guys just moved here to Phoenix a couple years ago?
2 years ago? Year and a half ago?
June of 2013.
Where were you before that?
LA.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah. And what brought you this way? Business?
All sports, not just motorsports.
Okay.
So we were doing Speed Freaks out of LA at the Peterson Automotive Museum, which was just
awesome.
bitchin'.
That place is amazing.
Wait, and you lived in Newhall? Because
Yes.
that's a hell of a drive.
That's
on
Sunday nights,
Sunday.
though. Just
Oh, it's a Sunday night show.
Yeah,
Okay,
Sunday
because
night.
Yeah.
Newhall, basically, Peterson Automotive Museum is kind of in this
Wilshire.
literally mid-Wilshire, so it's in the center of Los Angeles, so there's no easy freeway to get there. So it's you're going down Wilshire for
Right.
like 15 minutes, and then 405, which I assume is how you would get there.
No, we did the
There's no good time to
405,
go there.
101.
Okay,
just
yeah, there's no
depending.
good time to get there.
101, Hollywood and Highland, and then down
Right.
to Wilshire. Yeah, but you're right.
But there's no easy way to get
No.
there, exactly. And if that was a daily commute, that'd suck. So
No,
anyway,
that
sorry.
wouldn't
So
happen.
Peterson Automotive, that is a cool place. And
Oh, that's a bitchin' museum.
Right.
what I didn't, I've still never seen it, but I am told, like the Peterson Museum by itself is pretty cool to go to, but I'm told there's a whole underground filled with cars that are stored and all kinds of stuff that you would otherwise never see sort of above surface. Is that
We went
true?
there
He rotates them.
once.
Yeah.
But I say he's not live anymore. But they rotate them. But yes, it's what's underneath that's more impressive than what's up top.
Sure.
And they just reopened.
That's not true for my dating life.
I was going
Right.
to say, that sounds like a girl I used to date.
Yep.
Anyway,
my
go on.
Didn't
Yeah.
I?
Years ago.
Crasher, they reopened.
Oh.
They had it shut down for months for their remodel.
The museum.
Yeah.
Weren't they supposed to do an NHRA wing or something?
Well,
along
they were
those
going
lines?
to do something down in that
Or the
area you were
NHRA
talking
museum was
about.
supposed to
Yeah.
merge with Peterson, and then that never happened. But yeah, what were we down in the basement for once?
Just to see to see a studio that they were allegedly setting up.
Oh yeah, well of course that didn't happen.
And that didn't happen.
No.
Nope.
Wait, so it was for the most part, what you guys was a radio show, correct?
Yes.
And it was at the Peterson Museum,
Yes.
which
We
is an
started
awesome
off-
visual medium.
Oh, I know. And you can't do anything but just take pictures. And at the time,
Right.
when we were doing our show, Periscope wasn't around.
Yeah.
So literally, we would take pictures and just post them up on Facebook. And hey, look where we are by the Batmobile,
Right.
Or the Back to the Future mobile, or the DeLorean. Because we were with the Stars Cars area. So
Right.
That's kind of neat.
Which is cool.
But no, we started off on 97.1 in LA, and then we started to expand the show nationally, and just kind of separately we moved from 97.1 when they stopped their all talk format and went to ESPN radio in LA for 5-6 years. Something
We
like
went
that.
97.1 for a couple of years, ESPN for a couple of years, back to 97.1, and then when 97.1 went under, we needed a studio.
Right.
And
that's how we got
Peterson
Peterson.
Automotive Museum had a studio. Bam,
Right.
we were there for 4 years.
And this is like pre-wind tunnel. I mean, there wasn't really any big national.
Oh, this is during Wind Tunnel.
Oh, same
yeah,
thing.
No,
Same
we
era. Okay.
started before Wind Tunnel.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
there
we
at the time wasn't like some big national all-covering motorsports talk.
Right.
that
Well, I think we
existed.
started 2 years prior to Wind Tunnel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And were we
something
on
along that.
speed before Wind Tunnel?
No. But when we ventured into TV was 03, 04, and Wind Tunnel had been on at least a year by then.
Yeah, where they basically taped our radio show and synchronized it up to just 30 minutes of a 2-hour show.
Right.
But that was,
Yeah, but we put Wind Tunnel to shame.
yeah.
Not going there. Not touching that.
Hey, well, what made us different, what continues to make us different, is you can get your stats and bats on any freaking cell phone, on any computer back in those days.
Right.
You could get whatever you wanted in an article and be done with your research. What we did and what Kenny was huge about promoting was we bring out the personalities of the guys that we interview.
Sure.
So, hey, you know what they did in the race. Let's find out why, or let's find out specifically what was going on when
Well,
two guys
Eversley
were
can
side by
answer to
side.
that.
Absolutely.
I was
He's
asleep for
been
most of
huge
that
with
stuff.
Oh. What, behind the wheel,
Good
huh?
sleepwalker.
Yeah,
talk.
that's all I do. I've been driving for like five days straight now.
To your credit now, it's not that I've been sitting in the passenger seat sleeping, but you
guy's-
have literally driven the whole distance.
He's been like
so far.
cracking beers,
Yeah,
and
exactly. I'm
like,
drunk
calling
right now.
girls the whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
You do that in
So-
Texas.
That is true. Well, and
we were wondering about that actually. Remember the drinking?
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
open
'cause you
container.
Against the law, we can
Well,
still do it.
we saw a bunch of drive-through liquor stores. But it's against the law. You can still do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Copy.
Got it?
Kenny, tell them about your stories that you've told on air of driving back from college. Your days in Texas.
Who
you're born
didn't
and
do
raised
that?
Texan.
Who didn't load up a six-pack and make sure you're drunk by the time you got home?
Yeah. You got to
This is
like
what you
time
do.
it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
Bag of Swisher Sweets and some Pearl Light, you're good to go.
Pearl Light.
Rural light.
What is that?
I've never even heard of that.
68 calories.
Oh, well, sounds pretty good then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would drink that.
Or Schaefer Light, 99 cents a six. Yeah.
Can we seriously pull back the curtain, though? You are older than everyone else at this table, so this was in the early 80s.
So what does that mean, Crash?
Well, that's when the good stuff existed, though.
What the hell does
Just
that
saying,
mean?
in case somebody is
You think
is
people
asking,
still
what's
don't
Pearl
pop a
Light?
freaking six-pack and they're
No.
giddy up and don't drink and drive? It
I was
happens
going
all the
branding
time.
with that. What
Do
the
you-
hell's a Pearl Light?
Do you guys need us to leave for a few minutes?
Mommy and Daddy are fighting.
We'll just go. I gotta go check out something in the car. Sean, you want to come with
Yeah,
me?
no,
We've
I'm
only
good.
been doing
Let's,
this for 15
This
years.
is what we do on air, too.
That's part of why people pay us a whole lot of good money just so we can argue on air.
How long have you guys known each other?
Over 15 years.
That's it? Just over 15? You don't want to
Yeah.
go any farther than that?
We
So
could go
16 years,
specific.
15 and a half?
Let's see, I was on my way. I moved out to Los Angeles to pursue acting, as I used radio air quotes there.
Do people do that?
Right?
Okay. Okay.
No casting couch involved here. But I was on my way back to, no, as I'm getting to that, I was on my way back to the Indy 500.
That's why she didn't make it.
It was exactly. Well, I made this, though.
There you go.
And then that, and then that. Okay. But no, I was on my way back to the Indy 500 May 2009? No, excuse me, 1999? No, May 2000.
2000.
May 2000. And because I was done, I got a couple commercials, yay, but nothing big, so I wanted to get back into motorsports.
Sure.
However, I stopped by my agent's office on my way to the airport, and she was such a great agent that she said, "Oh, look through the breakdowns. I haven't had a chance to look through them today. See if anything fits you." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, wonderful.
Thanks.
I'm doing your
Exactly.
job."
Thanks for
Well,
helping.
it's-
Awesome.
It's hard to understand for like a struggling actor when they get an agent. That those are usually agents who have literally 1,500 clients at
Yeah.
once,
Oh,
and
wow.
so they just have like these casting breakdowns. Like, okay, blonde 5'6". Okay, this
And
is
they don't know
my
you
blonde 5'6"
personally.
category.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
But
go
yeah,
on.
I did. I
but
flipped
our
through.
breakdown was you can narrow it down. You got looks good,
Yep.
sounds good. There's millions of those,
Sure.
but knows her about motorsports. Whoops,
Yeah.
that eliminates about 95% of them.
Sure.
But when I was flipping through, I'm like, hold on a second. I want to do this. So, yeah, I
Oh.
submitted myself basically for this job of Speed Freaks.
So you
and
literally met on a casting call.
yes.
So the casting couch
like I
did
said,
work.
no, I had a boyfriend. He had a
It
girlfriend.
was
talking
actually
about
like a
Kenny.
casting pool.
It
was
was
that
a
the first
casting
place?
pool. I did meet you at your little bachelor pad with
Right.
the pool. Yeah.
Nice. Let's talk about the bachelor pad.
Oh,
I bet that thing was
seriously.
pretty good.
And this is when, the late 80s?
What about no?
No.
This is
Yeah, we've been doing the show for 40 years, Sean.
May of 2000.
The glory days.
Yep. Just throwing it out
Tell
there.
me about 2000. What was that like?
No, but before we get to your hooch and chew parties at your bachelor pad,
Whoa.
Why are we
whoa.
going there?
because
What's-
he wants
Yeah,
Wait,
no.
hang
why
Ryan
aren't
wants
we
to
going
know
there?
about the bachelor.
I just
pad.
want to hear what that quote was again. The what?
hooch and chew.
Hooch and chew.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that term.
You know what hooch is?
I-
Drink,
Yeah.
chew,
Okay.
food.
All right. Just making sure.
All right.
Okay. Making sure.
Hooch
I'm gonna
and
start using
chew.
that.
But getting down to the final four, the final five candidates for Crash Gladys.
Six.
Who else? Okay,
There were
final
200,
six.
200
You guys will laugh at
resumes, and of her, there was one that kind of stood out. On her resume, there was a little post-it note saying she could learn motorsports.
Oh.
this. On the specific woman, and that specific woman was who?
Do it.
You want to do it?
No,
Do
go
it.
for
Well, now hold on a second. Let's go back just a second. Was it
She
was it
didn't
was
get
it
it, I got
was
it.
it years after that when I went back and looked at the?
It was about 6 or 7 years later, and somehow you just came across the old file of who you interviewed for Speed Freaks and all the different ideas you had for the show, and you pulled out this headshot and go, oh my God, look who was a candidate for Crash Gladys.
Desperate Housewives.
Okay.
Wow.
Keep going.
Yeah, you lost me at Desperate Housewives.
Heard of it? Heard of it?
I can name like.
was married to a spur. You guys just came from Texas.
Oh, Desperate. I was thinking. Okay. Eva Longoria.
Uh huh.
Interesting.
She can learn motorsports.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
That is impressive.
All right.
She went on to be a Desperate Housewife. I went on to be Crash
So you
Gladys
could
and
be
marry
sitting
Kenny.
you could be sitting across from Eva Longoria.
No,
right
you
now.
guys
Yeah.
would have turned us down.
Yeah.
Like, nope. Which we're still surprised you didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, whatever.
We tried.
When I see anything with the name Ryan Eversley attached, I'm like, in.
Lies.
No, totally not lies.
The joke has been
It's-
that although this is definitely Sean and I's idea from like 3 years ago, it's gonna
it's
turn
not.
it's gonna turn into the Ryan Eversley podcast that Sean helps out on.
Yep.
Even
Yep,
though
his
Sean's
assistant
doing
Sean's
doing all the legwork. He's got to do all the hard stuff. But he'll like no matter
No,
what.
but that's built in history, though, and I don't mind putting this out
Yeah,
there. So, like, Magnus Racing in the IMSA series does this whole pit side webcast for all 24 hours of the Rolex 24.
It's brilliant.
And, Magnus has been doing it every year since 2012, and I've been doing that even a few years before that. And it's become its own little niche thing. You know, like sports car fans seem to really, really like it. Ryan has made appearances in nearly every one of them, but he hosted in
2 of them?
2013.
2 of them, I think.
It was really 2013 was the one you kind of did the whole thing with me.
Okay.
the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing. Absolutely.
For some reason, I feel like
Well, because you've been on a, you went.
well, I feel like we did it twice now, where I hosted,
Well,
or co-hosted. Sorry.
Indy. You went to Indy.
That's right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we
yeah.
did Indy. Okay, I knew there was
But
another one.
so of the 5 years we've been doing it, Ryan was a host on one of them, and to this day I still hear about how awesome the Ryan Eversley webcast is, presented by Magnus Racing.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
So thanks for coming to my podcast,
Yeah.
guys. I really
Awesome.
appreciate it. Sean's here too.
Is he your assistant?
That's fine. I accept my place.
You
I accept my
can't not
place.
tell that story.
Oh, okay.
Because
And then I have an assistant. So I have this is actually true. So I have a production company, and I have a business partner, Jason. He's not a huge racing fan.
Shame on him.
So he doesn't really put himself out there when the track. He's just like whatever gets us to the hotel quicker. And have you guys ever met RJ Valentine? He's kind of
Yes.
out of the scene now.
I have-
He was an awesome dude in the Trans Am series. When Jason and I would go to it, RJ's got this thick South Boston accent, and whenever we go to a shoot, I'll just be like, "This is Sean. He's a Hollywood producer, and his assistant Jason." It's like we're pretty much equal partners in this whole thing, but yeah.
So now Sean's my assistant, and
Yeah.
my
Got
assistant
it.
has an
Got
assistant.
it.
His assistant's
So
assistant,
you guys are
Jason.
up to speed now.
Yeah.
That's pretty much been our constant back and forth joke for 5 days.
Yep. But it's
So-
out. It's out there now.
Right.
So.
It's on the interwaves. Is that what they call it?
Well, I will say this though: you did put yourself, Sean, next to kind of the important gear,
Oh, I touched
as
it.
if you are producer man, and Ryan has himself out in the very front of the table,
With
you know,
food.
so as to with food exactly, so as to be the front man.
Right.
So it's just switch
Oh, no,
seats
no,
and
no,
you'll
we-
be
No,
fine.
this
no,
isn't
our roles
actually what
fit.
this is. I can outrun Sean, and so I'm basically stopping you guys from leaving.
Ah,
That's
that's
what this
actually
is.
true.
I'm
That works.
keeping you in the booth.
Well, and the other thing is, like, Ryan is a way better frontman than me because I am 36. I'm not a 16-year-old girl. I go on Twitter like once a week, and this
Good,
dude,
thank you.
this dude is ridiculous. So, are you guys on
Dude.
Twitter much?
Oh, absolutely.
Ah, see,
you
I'm
need
old.
to be on Twitter.
I'm old.
You're younger than me.
No,
you
I'm
just
old,
need
but
to be
no.
on Twitter more. Actually,
Anyway.
Instascribe.
She
You
told
need to
you.
be on Instagram too.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Photos.
Yeah, fair enough. You would do a
things.
photo once every month. If
I
you were.
would. I'd be an awful dude.
Just for the record, I hate eating on mics, but I'm hungry as hell.
No, no, do
No,
it.
this is
That's
the
the
whole
whole point.
point.
Lally literally spoke with his mouth full.
Yeah.
So then when I was racing NASCAR, I was thinking, this car's slow.
Good radio.
That's
Oh,
what he was
crap.
doing. So
I literally
So-
just dropped everything. on
So
my-
Kenny, Speed Freaks was kind of your thing, and to the point that you literally had a casting call to sort of build it into was it like a radio talk show? That was what you were after, or this was for the Speed Channel that you started doing that?
No, it's my background is radio. I started in mid '80s, right out of college,
right.
and had been in Los Angeles.
I think the burrito hitting the mic might be a little extreme,
Yeah.
but
Sorry.
that's all right.
it's got
I'd been in Los Angeles since '90, and I'd done a lot of TV work and some other gigs, and some radio work as well. But when I was prior to Speed Freaks, I was sports anchor and entertainment reporter for UPN News 13 in LA. When they didn't renew my contract, I thought, you know what, I better get something going on.
Yeah.
Landed a gig doing a animal show on Animal Planet called the Zig and Zag Alpha Dog Challenge.
I have to find this.
Yes.
I'm
Oh.
sold
It
already.
is legendous.
Yes, you do. It's
Okay.
still
Yep.
on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
So one more
Well,
time,
it
the
was-
Zig and Zag
Zig
Alpha
and
Dog
Zag
Challenge.
Alpha Dog Challenge. And what that afforded me to take some time off and explore other things. And I came up with
No,
this
stop
idea.
there.
Uh-huh.
Tell me about the Zig and Zag Alpha Dog Challenge.
It's Olympics for dogs.
Yes, it really was.
okay.
And what year was this?
This was 99.
Oh, okay. I was hoping it was like the 1992 like outfits with the dogs and everything all neon.
No.
Okay. All right. Oh, sorry. Proceed.
It's like a complete mock of the Olympics.
yeah,
Is that what you're getting at?
exactly.
Right.
But with like neon and
No.
like early 90s hair crimping.
And dogs.
Yeah, and dogs.
No, they did color my hair like 17 different colors of brown, red, blonde. For the show, we shot it down in Orlando in one of their studios there. So that afforded me time to explore other opportunities.
Now, is that something when you're doing it, you're like, I got to get out of here?
No,
or,
shit,
or at the
no,
time,
man.
were you thinking,
No,
like,
I
this is
dug
great?
it. Greatness. No, it was greatness, man. I enjoy wacky things like that. Working with dogs, man. Come on.
Well, let's be honest. You had a hot co-host too, right?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a co-host.
Man,
I'll leave it
I'm
at
not
that.
gonna. I'm
Oh,
not
you
gonna let
didn't
this
think she was
go.
hot? I thought she was hot. If
Okay,
I'm
good.
remembering.
I think he has to say that
Yeah.
while you're here.
You are here.
She wasn't. I mean, you know her. Chick is like infomercial queen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah?
It's her damn name.
So, Crash, you haven't let up on Kenny once since we got here. I mean, you've just been busting his balls nonstop. Is this day to day, like even when the mics are off?
No.
No,
She's nodding yes. He's no.
no. When the
Absolutely
mics are off, no. That he is right on the no there, because we're both busy chasing around a 21-month-old.
Right,
A
Henley.
little
Ah,
tough,
okay.
Henley. Yes.
So that was one of my questions. I want to know where the name came from. Family name or?
Well, truth be told, we moved to the Phoenix area 2 years ago. I'm preggers. It's freaking 120 degrees.
Had to stop drinking.
Right? It was horrible. So we go into this air-conditioned movie theater and decide to go pick up a movie. The movie Now You See Me. And it was,
Right.
did you see it?
The
What do you do?
Magicians.
Why you describe? We went to this air-conditioned theater. We had to pick up a movie. We didn't pick up a movie. We saw the damn movie.
Right.
You just said we picked up a movie.
Oh, well,
We're gonna take off. You guys can settle this. We'll be right back.
okay, well, my terminology wasn't correct. We picked up a movie. I was trying to be kind of hip and say, yeah, we sat down, picked up a movie, yo.
We took in a film.
We took in a film.
Yeah.
It was a talkie.
The cinema.
We went to the theater.
How long are your podcasts typically?
About 4 hours.
This one's gonna be the short.
Yeah, right.
No, that's my point. I just remember it's a podcast, Crash, not a
wow.
goddamn documentary on the sky.
So he's giving it back a little bit now.
Anyway,
Yeah.
finally,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Finally.
yeah.
Real teeth.
He needed a little food in him. You gotta get the blood sugar going.
So we saw the movie, Now You See Me. Anyway, it's about escape artists, magicians, whatever. The chick escape artist, magician in the movie at the beginning introduces herself. Hi, my name's Henley. And Kenny and I look at each other and go, huh, that's
Cool
kind of
name.
a cool name.
Cool name,
So no fun family story.
Well, but
or
she didn't
anything
know it
legendary.
was that she was carrying a
that's
girl.
right. Because I wanted to be surprised. That's right.
Well, lost the bet.
Yeah. We were hoping it was gonna be like Don Henley tribute.
Oh,
You
I
know,
know.
Boys of Summer or something.
Well, I love the Eagles, so yes, that kind of nice. It fits. Of course, my family goes, "Oh, isn't that a kind of shirt? Can't you wear a Henley shirt?" I'm like, "Okay, that's just stupid."
nobody knows what that is.
Nope.
Right.
Named after Isla Fisher.
At least it's not like Moondrop or
That's
something
her
like
name.
that. So
Yes,
Isla
that's her
Fisher.
name.
Yes.
Okay.
It
Okay.
helps having a computer right in front of you.
No, I know these
Oh,
things.
bullshit. You looked it up. You looked it up.
She's a little cutie.
that's it.
As it turns out, Henley in the books that we read or looked at, that little baby store place, Henley means social butterfly, and oh, she is.
Yeah, she really
takes
had
after that,
21
yeah.
months.
She ain't afraid.
She's doing a fashion runway show this coming Saturday.
So I'm guessing she takes after her mom then in this deal.
Does she have an agent?
she does.
She's doing it on her own. She's like, I'm busy this weekend, guys.
But she's
Like
in a file
Saturdays.
full of 1,500 other babies.
I would say at home, we spend so much energy on our shows. The daily show is all stick and ball sports. The weekend show is motorsports. That when he and I are home, no, we don't argue because we're sitting there either paying attention to Henley or, which she freaking makes us laugh all the time, or zoned out on TV. House of Cards is what we're trying to use now. Is our what?
That's
what are you looking
good
at me for?
baby
I love House of
programming.
Cards. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
What are you shaking your head for?
I don't know where you're going with this, man.
Well, I mean,
He asked way long time ago. Ryan
Right.
asked, "Do you guys fight like this at home?" And I said, "No, it's just on air."
it's more relevant than Sean's story about mouth sores, so we'll allow it.
Yeah, gross.
You have an affinity for mouse sores, Sean?
No, you know what you know.
And we're back on
You
all sorts.
know what you know. Birds of a feather, you know.
Oh my God.
I know a few sports car drivers that
Sean does too.
probably share some of those mouse sore stories.
So many places we're not taking
Yeah.
We've probably already interviewed a couple of them.
this. Exactly. Oh no, I don't want to say one.
Yeah, let's move along.
Yeah,
So
it's amazing why some have beards, not you.
go on. So Henley, was that something you guys are planning for, or is that kind of a surprise? Like, we'll see what happens.
It was a mouthful of food.
We were not planning for it.
Yeah.
How about it?
Yeah. Okay.
That's
And
probably
nor
the
were
best
we
way.
It's just
not planning for that to happen
Oh.
the month prior to us moving to Phoenix, where it's
Right.
120 degrees, starting a new radio show.
always a good time,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a dry heat.
Right.
Yeah, but new home, relocation to a new state, new baby,
New job.
new job.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like good, really good timing on our
Let's
part.
get it all in.
So basically, you guys have a daily show here in Phoenix that I assume is more of like a Phoenix sports kind of thing, and then Sunday night you still keep.
It's
feeding
Phoenix
going.
influenced for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the radio? Is it just all day sports, or is there
Fox
music
Sports
at all?
910.
Oh, okay, copy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
Suns, D-backs, Cardinals, Coyotes, and then our freak flare. Uh-oh.
Speaking of coyotes,
Yeah. So did you know
true
The
story.
more you
If-
know.
That's what this is. That's what this is.
if you have a problem with invading coyotes, there are those in Ovalo, Texas, who believe the trick to keeping coyotes out of your yard is to behead other coyotes and hang them out your fence.
Or
What?
on the fence from their ankles.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like scarecrows for, yeah.
Oh,
Right.
We didn't know this.
So when we got lost on the way to Jeff Brown's house, we literally made well, we didn't make the turn it wanted us to make because it told us on the phone like a driveway, which was about 50 feet past the actual road. So we're like, it can't be that one. Maybe it's the next one. So we just kept going, and that's where we see 4 in a row coyotes hung by their ankles, heads removed, just
really
rotting
creepy.
carcasses.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, so not only are we lost,
But
we know we're an hour from anything.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
you
that,
see
that
dead
you
animals.
removed the head. I knew that you
Oh,
hung
yeah.
them by the.
No.
So here's how dumb we are. We're like I'm like, we have to get
Oh,
video of
crap.
this or something. So,
What was
I
that?
had a blowout.
God dang.
It's called salsa on the shirt.
Wow. Did I just feel like I ate 14 pounds of butter there? Holy smokes.
Yeah, it was
Good,
pretty
though.
rich. But okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, so we're okay. We clearly have to document this because we're both
one
a
will
little
believe it.
scared, but also a little, blown away. So we get out and we're looking at it, and nothing about it said coyote to me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I never see coyotes in the South. Like it's not
True.
a regular thing. But and then what's worse is what I did come to the conclusion that it was. I've never seen in my life once. But I turned to Sean. I'm like, are those jackrabbits? They're 4 feet long. And he's like, yeah, I guess they could be. And I'm like, those are jackrabbits, man. The jackrabbits around here are huge. Like, we got to get out of here. Some dude somewhere is.
You see any jackalopes?
No, didn't see any jackalopes or snipe for that
There you
matter.
go. Hey.
But so we finally get to Jeff Brown's house and we tell him about it. He's like, oh yeah, they think that if you cut the heads off and hang them by their ankles, we're just like, we got to get out of here now, now. Yeah,
Horrible.
yeah. So that's something now you know about coyotes.
Yeah, and walking in here, knowing that we're going to have lunch with you guys, we talk about mouth sores and dead decapitated coyotes.
Yeah.
Awesome lunch conversation.
Yeah, welcome to Dinner with Racers.
yeah,
Exactly.
This is how Sean and I saw it exactly in our heads.
yeah.
Yeah. People keep trying to talk to us about racing. We're like, everybody knows you race. Get over it. Like, back to good stuff. you know?
That's actually kind of exactly where Kenny was going with the formation of Speed Freaks back in 2000. Yeah, we know your race. We know where to get the results from. Let's get to this kind of fun
Right.
fodder to get to know who you're really talking to. Who do you really cheer for on the track?
Sure.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
we actually asked this question of Andy, and we're going to ask you the same version for your particular job in the sport. But Andy, I said, hey, and this came off the cuff, like I was actually joking. And I said, if you could punch one driver in the face, who would it be? And he was like, oh, okay, easy. Gustavo Yackaman. Or, and we're like, oh.
He just like he had a written list already.
yeah.
You know?
He was like, oh, cool. Unrolls the names. So
Ralph Schumacher.
not is that who you'd go
Yeah.
after? Go after
Oh, yeah.
half Schumacher,
Uh-huh.
right?
Tell him why.
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
Just a full-fledged, elongated prick.
Oh wow.
Well, okay.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly
Now-
what we're hoping.
Ooh, I'll
to
take
hear.
that orange.
I wish you wouldn't soften it up.
Right?
I actually did. When Formula One came to Indy, I think it's the second race with their agreement with Indy, we lined up an interview with Ralph Schumacher, and it's just not easy to do to get to Formula One drivers. And I was there by myself, wasn't I? Yeah. Went through his handlers, talked to his handler, everything was good to go. Sitting there waiting to interview the bastard, and she comes in and says, sorry, he can't make it, he's tied up. I said, well, damn it. So I walk outside down Gasoline Alley, and you know how they have the setups there now to where there's a lot of windows. That F-Stone was sitting right there in the window looking at me kind of laughing like, because he pointed to me. I could see him. So he wasn't busy. He was just being a full-fledged, I own porn shops in Germany prick. So
Googling.
Oh, he does.
Googling.
if there's any person on this planet could take a spear to the face, it would be Ralph Schumacher. Why his brother is suffering for his ill wills.
Oh, right.
Very
Yeah.
sad. So
Ralph Schumacher can die.
we actually weren't going to say drivers. Say any other personalities that you guys compete with that you'd like to take a swing at. Yeah, no, that's better than I hoped.
Yeah,
for.
Ralph Schumacher's
So,
just
fair enough. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
I don't think there's anybody I want to take a swing at. And I'm not saying that to be the girly girl, nicey nice one. I don't want to
Shirley
give.
Muldowney wanted to swing at her one
Oh,
time.
Shirley
Really?
Muldowney called me when
good.
I was doing top end announcing for the NHRA back in, was it 03? What year was her comeback tour? I think it was 03. And she and I got into it on mic, and she called me a Betty Boop bitch.
Oh.
And so I looked at her and I said, Huh, well, that's fine. Out with the old and in with the new. And I pointed to her when I said old and me when I said new. But fast forward a couple of months later at the NHRA season-ending banquet, I walked up to her. Of course, I was inebriated and said, I'm so sorry. I'd love to bury that, whatever. She put her arm around me and said, hey, it's all good. It's all good.
And
I'm
then
like, all right, cool.
you sucker punched her.
I wish. No, I was too drunk to do that.
So she's 75 years old.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I just looked it up.
Wow.
So you probably could have
Wow.
taken
And
her.
you're like 26?
Yeah.
Oh, no, at that time, no.
I'm saying
so it was
now.
03.
14?
Yeah.
I was probably 33 or what. I'm
You
gonna
could
be
have. You had her.
Yeah.
You had her.
You could have taken her.
No, but now I totally respect. I mean, obviously, I respected her then too. I just didn't like her attitude, and she was just not wanting me to do anything with her beloved series. And yeah, once we got to know each other, it was a whole different story. So that was cool.
Do you interact with a lot of females in racing, specifically
try
because
to.
you're the female?
I try to, yeah, because
presence?
I want them to know, or at least feel more comfortable about me. I'm not here to. Because you get it with guys and girls in the media, like, ooh, I'm only here to be a part of your entourage, or ooh, I'm only here to cut you down. Like Danica Patrick got so much of that when she first came
Sure.
out, and so I'm just like, hey, I'm here to support you. Show me what you got on the track, and I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader because I do feel like you don't have a lot of people cheering for you. I mean, Erica Enders, for Christ's sakes, that woman is the defending champion right now,
She's a
and
badass.
she can't get a damn major sponsor.
Yeah.
What is? Sorry, I'm getting all upset here. What is wrong
Flipping
with this
tables?
story?
It's like our fourth F-bomb.
What is wrong though? I mean, she should be massively
Right.
sponsored right now. She speaks well. She looks good. She drives like a maniac, which I mean in the full compliment. And yet she can't get a full-time sponsorship. It's bullshit. It's
Yeah.
absolute bull. There's a lot of that stuff in motorsports that I hate. I was a fan of Leilani, still am, Leilani Munther, and I feel like she was never given the opportunity that she should have been given. So yeah, that stuff drives me nuts. You have a funny face.
Is that the
No.
Arca? Is that the Arca driver?
Yeah.
She was for a
I'm
little
going
bit.
to keep my opinions myself.
I'm not.
she
I don't think
may.
she's that good.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think she's that good.
Okay, I'm going to not keep my opinions. No, I would.
Okay.
I would back
mean,
you
No,
up.
that's totally fine.
Sarge was totally open about Ralph Schumacher.
That's
so,
true,
I mean,
that's
I don't
true.
dislike her.
I am sure
That's
she's.
Ralph. but
You wouldn't sucker punch her.
yeah, no, but I just never
You-
thought she. I think she's a nice person. and
You
she-
deserve an opportunity when you get results.
Yeah,
Got it.
fair enough.
Not
But
true for
Erica
anybody.
Enders is a
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not. Yeah.
She should be getting
All right.
everything thrown at her. That's crazy.
I mean, she even has on her resume a Disney movie that she could say, hey, look what I can do if you give me a shot.
Right.
Yeah. There's some guys out there that I feel don't get fair shots at whether it's
Who
an
would you like to
opportunity
punch?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Are we back to the punch thing?
Get to the point. Get back to the point.
What's a Ranger score?
So checked out. It's awesome.
I know, right?
New co-host.
I swear to. I don't know who
Can we just say you're a co-host
You're
for the rest of them? Like, and Kenny's over here on the phone.
Yeah.
Kenny's listening back.
End
in
of the
the
fifth.
stu-
Rangers are still up 2-1.
Kenny's in the studio.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, what happened to Lugnuts?
Ha.
Is he gone?
He's gone. Yes.
Oh.
As of
Yes.
January 2008, yeah.
Is it cancer or?
Like
Oh, God, no. No,
car
no.
accident.
No. But that is part of his history.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Well, look
Wow.
at
No,
me.
he-
I'm on a
But
roll
no,
today.
that's not.
We
that's not
suspended him,
Okay.
and his comeback was to quit.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We that was supposed to be a joke.
Well, that would turn
he's
around.
not. He's on the website.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just looking up.
Yeah, there's a whole Speed Freaks website. This was
Yeah, we looked
how
it
we
up.
did part of our we do our research.
Are you
Well,
on an old website?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe because
Maybe.
there was like a Lugnuts
Yeah.
bio, and you're like, oh,
We-
let's
Wait,
check it
show
out.
me, show me,
I
show
gotta find. This is
Okay.
like days ago, so I gotta.
We
Yeah, it had
spend
to
at
be- it had to be
least. I mean, we're very diligent. We spend at least 10 minutes looking up the people that we're about to interview. So yeah, we went on the Speed Freaks website.
That's all you need,
The,
man.
He is nowhere on the site now. but
no, it's pretty.
Oh,
your
you know
website's
what?
pretty amazing.
No, you're right. He's not.
Is it
It's
old?
Triple F. That's who we're gonna ask.
Oh.
About. Is that a
Yeah, yeah,
producer or
yeah.
something?
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's
Okay.
a producer.
But then you asked. You were like, isn't
'Cause
one
I
of them named
wasn't-
Lugnut?
yeah.
And
Got
I was
it,
like,
got
yeah, but
it.
I don't think I've ever met him.
Well, that's part of my larger thing. Is so.
Is this a sore subject? Because we don't.
No,
care.
absolutely not.
It was just a joke. We.
he was absolutely hysterical. I thought he worked wonders for our show, but you don't mix alcohol in company vehicles.
Yeah, I
Oh.
think that's a pretty standard
Okay.
rule
Yeah.
across the board.
And you
Yeah.
also need to show up on time.
That is not true.
I'll argue on that one, but the.
You're from Hollywood. You
drinking
should know.
No.
that.
When you don't show up on time with
On the
alcohol in
air.
your breath
Yeah, yeah.
in a company vehicle.
He was
Oh,
he was
wait,
part of the
so-
original.
So it was like a
All tied
tie-in.
together.
So
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
showing up late, drunk, in your company car.
Okay.
Okay, I kind of like this guy. Like, I mean, I want to interview him at least. You know what I mean? Like, so what did you do today, for example? He's like, well, I hit the bar. Then I got breakfast. Then I went to work.
Yeah. Oh. Ooh.
Okay. Well,
But
that's
Statman and Crash are two of the originals.
And this is a Statman McGillicuddy?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. Crash, even though
It's where it comes from. Where his name comes from,
it's
right?
not.
Oh, Scatman is where his name comes
Comes from Scatman Carruthers.
That's right.
Sure.
Oh, Carruthers. That's it.
Carruthers.
Yeah,
Okay.
Not McGillicuddy.
Skeetman Carruthers.
Yeah.
Okay, but so this is part of my bigger question. I should be a branding guy, but I'm terrible at it. Y'all have nicknames.
Mhm.
Why?
I don't have a nickname. She's got a nickname.
So Sergeant, your last name?
Yeah.
Oh, it
okay.
really is?
I
Yeah.
thought it was
Oh.
like a
Yeah, we
Crash,
thought it was
Crash
like
Gladys.
Yeah,
Kenny
Crash Gladys,
Sargent.
Kenny Sargent.
Statman and Crash Gladys, and then Lugnuts were the three that I devised as characters.
May he rest in peace.
As
Like
Kenny goes, I have my real name. What are you doing?
What was that?
So
You
for
just
those
literally almost
listening,
kicked me.
for those listening at home, Kenny just lifted up his shin.
No,
to reveal
there's
he's
we had
bleeding.
an attack of mosquitoes on my ankles a while back, and I just freaking yanked a few off in my fingernails.
Can you just do the interview? I mean, can we just have the interview?
Like cold sores, and now
No.
sores on my.
healing
You got sores on your ankles.
What happened to you, man? Are you okay?
God.
So the medics are just getting here.
There was a band in Hollywood called Smash Gladys in the mid '80s,
Oh,
Okay.
and the original female character
You
for the
remember
show
the
was
80s,
going to be
Ryan?
called
Yeah, I was born in
Smashed Gladys, and I thought it'd be cool to get a lawsuit. But before we went live with the show, I just turned the name into Crash Gladys.
Okay.
And Statman is literally, that's his name, because you know Statman,
Yeah.
a.k.a. Bill Wood. The
Yeah, we
dude
know him
knows
very well.
so much about
Right.
motorsports. And
Right.
my line was always, he could tell you what color underwear Richard Petty was wearing in '73 when he won Daytona 500, because his brain just goes so deep. So hence, that's Statman. Lugnuts was Lugnuts. He was just nutty. He was just a nutty dude.
Right.
Provided the irreverency that we needed. So those are the names I came up with, registered, and
And that's all there is.
that's it, man.
Okay.
Yeah, our constant back and forth the last few days has been repetitive stupidity. I think one of the jokes was like, rest in peace, Lugnuts.
Right.
Like, he's just gone. Nobody knows what happened to him.
Yeah.
He's in the crater.
R.I.P. Lug.
Oh. You'll find him at Irwindale Speedway
So
on Saturday night.
if we were ever hosts on, could we have nicknames?
Uh-huh.
If we were ever
Yeah,
on?
what would be like? Where's the?
You know what?
Well,
It kind of has to be organic,
Who
though.
gave Lugnuts? Was it because he's nutty? That's it. You just
No,
that
it was
a
just
quick
the
one?
character's name.
Okay.
Because Kenny, do you have all say in somebody's nickname? Do they get any influence? Or you're like, this is
It's like
Your
you
name
wanna
is
be on this
Loctite.
Show. Well, this is the name you're going to have.
okay? So yeah,
So
years
it's almost
ago.
like his thing. He's like, oh, I'm gonna enjoy this. All
Yeah,
right. Yeah, Stinky McGee's here today. Like, what? My name's Rick.
Didn't we? Chris Jacobs joined us for about a
We
year,
tried to
and
give
we
him a
gave him
nickname.
we gave him a nickname of Throttle.
Oh yeah, Throttle
All right.
Jacobs. Yeah. Well, just Throttle. Just Throttle. That's right. That's
like
right.
that.
Chris Jacobs was a co-host with us for a year. I forgot. Yeah, he talk about a car knowledge guy. Woo. Yeah.
So what would you be, Sean? What was your
I'll
nickname?
eat my f***ing sandwich.
Right. That's why I wanted to
That's
ask
it.
you.
That's the name.
Yeah.
Feature fucking face. That's his
I'm
nickname.
thinking.
Sandwich Heckman over here.
I'm thinking dry sump.
Dry sump. Okay. All right.
Oh, that's kind of
What would
sexual
you be,
too, I
Ryan?
think.
Hubcap.
Up that?
Hubcap.
Maybe
Yeah, you guys
Loctite.
are weak.
That's
Lock,
how you
What are you trying
Loctite.
to- Loctite.
Yeah.
Ah,
yeah.
see, okay. There
I'd
we
be.
go.
You guys want any dessert? More drinks?
I will do another Arnie.
Actually, I will do an
That's
Arnie as well.
Oh, snap.
You know?
Blow it
yeah.
up. You didn't blow it up.
I'm terrible.
The fact,
Don't
that
be
he,
hubcap
the fact that he
because-
got knuckles.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
a
just
big
be
step
happy.
for us. We're
Now
really
you're
excited
up for
about that.
You guys are rolling on Continental tires, aren't you?
We are rolling on Continental tires all the way to from Atlanta to California to Chicago to Atlanta again.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the point of all of this. Is it's basically to see the durability of your rubbers.
No. It's basically who can we convince to let Sean and I be idiots for a
Yep.
month.
And they got the job.
They were like, that sounds terrible. Let's do it. Yeah. I think
No,
they're
it's
just
pretty
looking
cool,
to see how we devolve over the course of the show. Like Sherry's going to, afterwards, be like, okay,
That was great.
how'd it go? And we're like, I'm never doing that again. She's like, yes.
And she hasn't heard anything we've done so
Oh,
far.
nothing.
She hasn't-
And we're like
nothing.
terrified.
Right.
of-
I keep wanting to turn this around. It's difficult.
Yeah, don't do it.
It is.
Don't
I know.
do it.
Isn't
Well,
it funny?
So
I'm like,
one of the guys we interviewed, Bob Varsha,
okay.
he's an Atlanta guy, so it was really easy to get
Got
him
it.
together. And our first thought was we're going to sit down and he's going to be like, so tell me about the race. And we'll be like,
Exactly.
I know it's tough to not be that guy for a change.
Well, so we'll talk about you.
Fine. We get it.
So That was actually one of my because we literally didn't figure out the fact that you guys had a daily sports talk show until like 10 minutes ago. And you know what? But I'm
Which
serious.
is why
Well,
you're not
for you
going to
in
get a
Phoenix.
4-hour podcast out of us because we've got to go prep for it.
Right. Okay, so what's your name again?
Well, no, but that is one of my big questions. Is you know the world of motorsports. Now you guys are very all encompassing what you cover, but the world of motorsports, in my opinion, especially from a media standpoint, is hard and getting harder to make a living in. So how has Speed Freaks maintained or survived? I guess because to me the ability to get advertisers to be able to keep a sustainable income to keep something like that going has to be hard.
Relationships, initial relationships. It started with Lucas Oil was our first big partner to come in. It wasn't a whole lot of money initially, but when you start to, we expanded into television, and then all of a sudden Lucas Oil creates Lucas Oil Television Productions, and then bam, we're their first TV host. It's just relationships initially with Lucas Oil. That's blossomed to where there's so many different facets that we're involved with Lucas and that they're involved with us. Lucas is a major player on our daily sports show with Speed Freaks. Television, we're tied in with the Lucas Oil Production Company. Continental Tires it actually started with Tires, where Travis Roffler was with Tires at the time, and Greg Vandermark. When I think I approached them at SEMA maybe like 2001 or 2002, and bam, they're on board. And then Travis goes to
We hosted a Toyo symposium at SEMA in
Sport
2002.
Compact Drag Racing.
Yep.
It's going to last forever.
We're gonna bleep out
Yeah.
over and over again,
Oh,
but
you
the
can-
rest
you
of it's
can.
good. Yeah.
Sure, it's fine.
You can just say, "Oh yo."
We just think it'd be hilarious.
Or just reverse it. Yoil?
Yeah.
Just
Oh yo yo yo.
so
yo.
when Travis went to Conti, he and I talked and said, "Man, why don't you come over here?" And it's been Continental Tire, General Tire for probably as long as he's been there.
Right.
And maybe that's 7-8 years.
I think it's about 7, 8. Yeah.
right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And those are two of our big players. Lone Mart's been a big player of ours for the last 3 or 4 years.
We had Budweiser for years.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good, and it pretty much ended around the time InBev came in and bought the company. But Budweiser helped us a lot at the beginning. Wow, we did a lot with them. That was fun. We did a lot of pub crawls.
It wasn't just, hey, come on and buy some ad time.
You're bleeding. Sorry, I gotta. That mosquito bite that you.
It happens like every show.
We were it wasn't just, hey, come in and buy some spots. It was like, we can feature your drivers on our show that's sponsored by you, whether it's Lucas or Budweiser. Would you stop
You're
it?
I know, but
literally
it's-
licking his wounds.
Well, no, I'm licking the scabbiness of.
That's attractive.
This is,
I'm licking my
wow.
thumb and then rubbing his leg.
That's a
what
sentence
I'm
that didn't exist until right now.
So
So
it's being able to use our platform to put Lucas Oil, Continental Tires into platforms that would take more research and more
Yeah.
time for those guys to do on their own.
Sure.
Continental Tire, Lucas Oil, again, they're both major players on our daily show.
And those are big companies. You know,
Yeah.
you're not promoting, Joe's Chicken Shack on.
Oh, they're out
Third.
there.
Yeah, for sure.
Joe's brings us a lot of chicken every
But
now and then.
it's damn good chicken.
Mhm.
But those are big players in the industry. You look at Lucas Oil, they're sponsoring Indy cars in their own series and off-road
Yeah.
trucks and things like that. Obviously, Continental has their own series, and Budweiser doesn't need much of an explanation. Those
Well,
are
I miss Budweiser's involvement in motorsports, though. I mean, sure, you still see a little bit with Kevin Harvick, but when we first started Speed Freaks, it was Miss Budweiser and hydroplane racing. It was Jeremy McGrath and Supercross with the Bud Light brand,
Yeah.
and it was they had a car at the Indy 500.
Yeah.
It was everywhere,
Right.
and things have changed. It's kind of a shame.
Well, but also
To get back to
Yeah.
go right back to where you started that conversation was it's tough, very tough now to make a living in motorsports. In all, as you say, well, what about a guy like Jimmy Johnson? I'm just talking about in all facets outside of guys.
Well, and
are
even
already
Jimmy
making a lot
Johnson
of
has had to take pay cuts the last couple of years.
Everybody has
you
in
know.
that series.
So.
But yes, it's much tougher than when we started 15 years ago.
Well, and similarly, I mean, there's obviously a million mediums they can promote now and whatnot, but you guys have a very specific brand. You try to be edgy. You try to sort of do something that's a little bit off the cuff.
Try.
And but you're dealing with national brands who have 7 layers of management, and all of them are usually a little bit shy to go too risque. So how do you balance that?
We've never, ever been told to tone it down by Lucas, Continental Tire, Lone Mart, Sony, Budweiser.
Oh, that's right. Sony was a player for a
Sony
while.
was a player for a while. They've never asked us to tone it down. Again, there's some language that we're using here that we can't use on radio, but we did use it on Sirius. We were the first motorsports show ever on Sirius. And we would do that, I think it was Saturday afternoon show, and that's what was difficult for me was on Sirius, you could just unload.
Right.
And then on Sunday night, I had to put on my FCC mouth,
Yeah.
which, Kane Filters was a big player for
Oh,
it.
duh.
Right.
Oh, I feel bad.
Which we use
missed them.
Kane Filters to
Yeah.
filter our language many times. But
Wow.
Yeah.
hey,
But I will
That
say
was
this.
He's also an ad man.
Exactly. I will
but
say
hey,
this. You know,
absolutely
everybody
did.
has always termed us as being the edgy motorsports show. But if you really sit down and listen to even some of our shows back in the day when we were edgier than we are now, it's nothing different than just sitting around at this table or at a bar and
Crasher,
talking.
no one was doing that. Speed Channel wasn't doing that.
That's
ESPN
true.
wasn't
That's
doing
true.
it. Fox
So
Sports
it was
wasn't
just
doing
still
it.
different. Yeah.
No one was doing that. Again, you had to toe the company line if you were driving that car by Boston baked beans. You had to be the happy bastard. You might be out there, banging 18-year-olds, but when the camera's on you got to be that middle America guy with 2 kids and a white picket fence.
Right.
Keep going.
Yeah. Don't stop. Let's talk politics. So with
Oh, I thought he was
Trump,
talking about Michael Waltrip. Okay, anyway. Just saying.
No, continue.
Time code. You might want to.
There's no,
Edit break.
not time code. There's who I want to punch.
We're not
There's
big,
who I want to
but
sucker
you-
punch.
Wait, so
okay,
you would
but
punch
you don't
Michael
need to go in
Waltrip?
detail specifically. We're just not big Michael Waltrip fans.
No,
Okay,
not at all.
so
But I do have.
I have a story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go in. So we'll break here. So you have somebody you would punch.
Sucker punch, yeah, Michael Waltrip for sure. And it's because we had a rock and roll PR.
Crasher, listen.
I'm not going to go into the details. And if I do, I'll just say
There-
edit.
No,
We can
no,
edit
there
stuff.
are
Ryan-
certain things you just don't.
Okay, but it started with. I've never really been a fan of his, but it started with Speed Freaks. We bring a lot of rock and roll stars onto the show as well. And heck, we talked to Alice Cooper just a little
Cooper.
bit. Yeah, but
Hope
I
you didn't
forget
kiss.
who the star was, but I sure remember the PR person, and she was working with an agency.
don't need to bring
in
up her
LA.
name either.
I won't bring up her name, but I know. 'Cause
Thanks for giving us that kind of credibility that enough people will hear this.
There's going to be 20 people
she
listening.
came in. We did the interview with her.
One
star.
person has to hear it.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
then-
what we're
That's
hoping
true.
for.
And then Triple F is on the phone going, Kenny, you finally got sued. You finally got sued.
But
then
no.
I'm calling Sherry going, those mother
I'm
effers.
sorry. No. But no, so we did the interview. Everything was great. Of course, we're talking all the small talk after the show and all that. And she goes, so how much do you guys do in NASCAR? And I said, oh, a lot. We do quite a few races. We have their drivers on, as often as we can. She goes, do you ever do anything with Michael Waltrip? I'm like, ugh. Then we all start laughing. Yeah, he's probably our least favorite in there. The cheater you talking about, like the turbo fuel he was putting in, whatever, rocket fuel. And then she goes, well, I've just got a story. Anyway, she tells us a story about her time with him when she was
Crasher.
working for a sponsor.
Got it.
I'll just leave it at that.
Just leave it at that.
I'll leave it at that, but let's put it this way.
Crasher, no,
Dude was
no,
an
no.
a-hole.
Do not. Do not.
I am so happy right now.
Yep.
Do
You've made our week.
not.
Sorry. Sorry. He's
Well,
just.
The audience,
We
our
listen,
parents, are really going to enjoy this story.
Oh, no.
Who's the opposite? Who's the guy who has a terrible reputation but is insanely nice?
Ooh, that's a great question.
That is a good question.
Tony Stewart.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard that. Yeah,
Definitely
a lot of
Tony
people.
Stewart.
You guys travel to many races?
Yes.
You do.
Yes, I
Like-
love the travel part. Actually, some people say they hate being on the road. I love being on the road. If I'm not in an airplane every 2 weeks, I'm like, "Ugh." Yeah, I love traveling.
Most of
I
our
know,
travel
Ryan's
is
like, I
for
hate it.
television, though, Sean.
Okay.
With the Lucas Oil series that we cover, she covers PPL.
Okay.
Do you know what the hell that means?
No. I pretended so that it would be good radio, but I have no
Projected penile lacing. She covers that.
Okay.
It's
so
called
we're
the
gonna
pro.
back
It's
up.
called the Pro Pulling League. Yes.
Wait,
truck
really?
And tractor
You're covering
pull.
tractor pulls?
I do. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it is greatness.
Yeah. And I went into it in the year 2007, I think it was, that I first started, and I had the stupid stereotypes. This is just one of my many lessons for kids. Don't ever judge a book by its cover. I did it, and my very first event, I was like, holy crap, these people are amazing, and just they're like my second family now. I love
What
them.
are the cities that they do tractor pulls in?
Oh, yeah, well, Hillsboro, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Goshen, Indiana.
Sure.
Wheatland, Missouri.
Yeah.
I forget the town in New York that's just south of Buffalo. Evansville, Indiana. Franklin, Kentucky.
Just metropolises all
Yep.
over.
Absolutely.
All tourist destinations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just
you?
like,
Yes.
Right, I've been
just
to all
like
of
Midland,
them.
Texas.
Right, Midland, Texas, home of the Petroleum Museum.
No, I love it. I love it. One of the guys, one of the crew guys, not even one of the drivers, supplies all the corn for Frito-Lay east of the Mississippi.
Oh,
Hello.
Okay.
Okay.
One of the drivers raises like 75% of the turkeys that eventually make it to Whole Foods for your dinner plates. I mean, it's amazing. And I never knew any of those stories until after about 5 years of being a part of it. I'm like, love you guys. You're salt of the earth human beings, loaded, but you never know it,
Right.
and just fun, genuine, cool people.
Is this the like used to be on the motorsports cavalcade kind of stuff where like it's the 12 engines on one tractor?
Oh, I
and
see.
they're-
Yes.
The big tractor. So this is it. This is like
This
the high
is
level.
the legit.
Is
yeah.
the ego thing there with the guys that drive that series? Like there are like people like
You
me,
would
you know, where you
think-
just can't get them in a room. Their head's too big.
You would
or,
think, but
or is
no.
it just no?
I will say when it comes down to the season finale or the last couple of races, I keep calling them races, they're polls. When it comes down to the last couple of events in the season, yeah, you might see a little bit of that, but no. There are so many times you're dealing with experimental motors and experimental setups
Sure.
that you have breakage all over the place, and everybody helps everybody. It's
That's
kind of
cool.
like IndyCar, NASCAR, sports cars really were back in the day. You still see it in sports cars, actually, but
Yeah.
you don't see it as much in IndyCar. You definitely don't see it in NASCAR.
Sure.
Where everybody's helping everybody, and they do it because they love it, and they do it because they want the sport to get better.
I will
Love
argue that only because
yeah?
it brings a cool story up for the NASCAR side.
Yeah.
A couple years ago at Eldora, they had the the heat races to get everybody into the main show, and Norm Benning, who is like the starting park guy,
Yeah.
he has like a 4-man team, in the truck series. He never makes the races half the time. He beat out like a young kid who was in a decent truck to make the final spot, but to make it into the show, they're beating and banging the crap out of each other, and so he like comes across the line and beats the kid. Mind you, this is for like 5th in the 5th heat. You know what I mean? They're fighting for 34th on the grid, and he makes the cut through and the kid's out, and that's the last spot for the race, and his truck's destroyed. And like RCR team guys came over and are like helping him put the truck back together, and they made a big deal about it on TV, and I thought, wow, that still happens at that level?
Right.
Because I'm with you. I thought, no, like those guys are like, you're on your own, but they literally are, like, you see like Austin Dillon, or I guess it was Ty Dillon at the time, his crew guys with all their
That's
like really
cool.
nice gear and everything are working on a truck that looks like it fell off the rig when they unloaded it, and I just
Okay,
thought that was
that's
so
badass.
neat. But you
Yeah.
never see it. You're right.
Yeah.
It's definitely, so it's cool to see they still do that in the tractor pull
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
Absolutely.
How
It's
many-
just neat to see everybody wanting their series to continue to grow and get better.
How many people are showing up to these events? Because I go to like local dirt track
Fans
stuff,
or-
yeah, and it's packed. So I imagine it's the same.
It just depends on the venue. Well, actually, no. Wheatland, Missouri sold out, but then again, that place it holds 8,000 people.
Oh, well, darn.
I know. But
More than the IndyCar race at California Speedway.
I mean,
There it
that's a
is.
true
Out loud.
statement. That's a true
fired.
statement.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This
Yeah.
past Sunday on Speed Freaks, we had the Formula Drift champion on and talked about the sold-out audience at Irwindale Speedway,
Right.
and it was
Yeah.
more than IndyCar California Speedway this past summer.
So we know you guys have to get going pretty soon. We have a couple of things we've been doing as a carry on from one show to the next, and so
Did you learn anything about us?
I learned a lot. Actually,
Yeah.
I like you a lot more.
I have heard that about you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're kind of a good-looking guy. You're opening the wounds up for me.
That's true.
So we have a couple of things we've been doing show to show to kind of continue to engage the fans if they're listening as a series. So one of
Who
those
has the
is-
worst farts in the car?
Ooh, that would engage the fans.
We actually haven't had that yet.
It's been
What?
pretty.
We've been, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because you eat rank food when you're in West Texas.
Well, I mean, we've been
Well,
trying
we
to.
eat rank food wherever we go. This
well,
is actually good.
The
but-
problem is that we've been on such a time crunch to get from place to place and still get to see some stuff that there's no time to stop and really eat. So last night we actually treated ourselves to Chili's.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, we
And
went
no
all out.
farting today?
I mean, a few I squeaked out early he didn't know about. So
Sure.
See how I turned it? I turned it into interviewing you guys again? That's just so
yeah,
bad.
would you let it go?
Sorry.
Come on, man. It's
Let
not,
it go.
it's not all about me. So
That's the first time he's ever said
right,
that.
that almost
ever.
didn't come out right.
Yeah.
So
By the way, this girl to my left could out fart any.
I didn't know girls farted.
Oh,
let's talk
dude.
about it. What's her
Let's go.
what's her
God
trigger
damn.
food? What's her trigger food?
I don't have a trigger food. That's the thing.
So
I
it's just
try to
anything?
eat super healthy, but you input green, output fart.
Can't you just blame the
It's
baby?
just-
You guys have a dog?
Yeah,
I
we
used
blame the dog. I mean,
I used to blame Henley, but no, you can't. Henley's poops and farts smell vastly different than an adult poop and fart.
Huh.
Yeah, no, so you can't. You can't. But we talked about this on our daily show last night, actually. And I don't know why.
I'm
is
just
it-
kicking myself in the balls
I
if
know,
I
I was
could.
gonna
I don't
say,
know why I'm bringing this
you
up.
have
Yeah, this
fart
is-
on the mind or poop on the mind. Did you know this?
Do you need to
little
go to the
fact?
bathroom, Kenny?
Yeah, right.
Do you need a minute?
There is a NASCAR driver who is very proud of turning around and taking pictures of his poops and then texting them to all his friends.
I know a couple sports car guys that do that.
Let's
so-
say that.
Just
Oh,
dudes,
really?
dudes
Okay.
just do that.
That's a race car.
Guys
guy.
just do that.
Does he
Yeah.
name them? Or do the sports car guys name them? Because this guy names them Smashzillas.
I don't think he names them, but he describes them.
Like there's a whole website about this actually. It's called ratemypoo.com.
No.
Oh yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
making this
oh
up.
yeah.
That's a real
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You can-
Then I
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to get on there.
Terry
Yeah.
Boyd pointed that out to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's greatness.
That's a real thing.
You guys heard about the Burger King thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we talked
that's
about it
Turned
last
your-
night.
That's
Yeah.
how the subject came up.
Right.
last
That's a
night.
whole
Yeah.
new situation.
How does a black burger turn your crap green?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Do you know it's a Halloween costume now?
It is. But it's a hot chick dressed up as the green poop.
It's a guy
don't
in
know
the
how I feel
black
about that.
Burger King burger and a girl, hot chick next to him, looking like green poop, but with very snappy shoes.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Anyway, we keep getting you off your question that you want to go with.
So we have a theme we've been doing from interview to interview,
It's not farts.
and
Patrick Long, how do your farts smell?
so here's that's
That's where we're going.
That's a fair question. So, so a common theme we've been doing from episode to episode is asking a question and carrying it on to the next guest. So we just left Ovalo, Texas the other day. We saw Jeff Brown, famous racing engineer, and he asked you guys if you were granted one wish by the racing genie and you could change any racing in any way only with one thing, what would it be? His answer was he would cut downforce on all forms of motorsports across the board by 50%
Yep.
to bring the racing back. But anything you can think of, one change, racing genie, anything's possible.
First thing that comes to mind for me, because I grew up in Indianapolis. I'm a huge IndyCar fan. My dad was medical director at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway when I was young. That's my blood. I would ask the racing genie to make IndyCar popular again.
I think a lot of people would want that.
What would that take?
What would that take? New management. It would take thinking outside the box and stop working your series from inside the Holman George family and the way that they've done things for decades. Get outside the box, market the shit out of it because you got some damn good personalities that nobody knows about.
Right.
We interview Scott Dixon on Speed Freaks.
He's hilarious.
And
Yeah,
yes,
he's hilarious.
He's absolutely hysterical. And he and Kenny talk about hot biscuits and gravy, and that means something sexual, actually. And, and Scott came up with it many years ago. But yeah, we'll put it out on Twitter that we have Scott Dixon on, and then somebody will fire back, oh, what a boring interview. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Get to know these guys that you're cheering for. So yeah, that's what IndyCar needs to do. They need to change their marketing drastically.
Was he a 3-time or 4-time champ?
Now 4.
Four.
Okay, a 4-time IndyCar champ that loves Taco Bell. That guy's my guy.
He was at Roscoe's when I was there.
He's just a foodie. He loves.
Is it in Hollywood?
Yeah, Long Beach.
Oh yeah.
Magnus
yeah.
Was it Ross